While it might not be the oldest play in the book, it is, without question, the most popular. The pick and roll has been a fixture in NBA offenses since its inception, and every year that goes by, it gets run more and more. As soon as the defense creates an adjustment to stop it, a new wrinkle is born that gets more buckets. How many different types of pick and roll are there? Georgia State's video coordinator Jeff Diepenbrock and I identified no less than 20 different types of actions that NBA teams use to allow the ball handler to get free and make plays. So get your whiteboards out, check your dry erase markers, make sure you've got some paper towels because we've got some serious X's and O's to throw out at you. First off is the old reliable high pick and roll. This is the simplest play to run since you just need to spread 2 players wide on the one side, a third on the other, and the ball screener comes up to screen the ball handler. With the players spread out so far, it makes it difficult for the defense to cover that much ground, and with a capable point guard who knows how to control the possession, it's the go-to call for most NBA teams. Of course, starting out in the high pick and roll with no movement beforehand does allow the defense to not only be in a set position, they are now ready to handle the attack since it's usually the most practiced defense as well. They've drilled how to defend this play, know where they're supposed to be and when, and oftentimes make the shot a little more difficult. An offshoot of the high pick and roll is a flat pick and roll. Instead of screening to allow the ball handler to go to one side or the other, the ball screener sprints right to the back of the defender and his feet are parallel to the half-court line. This enables the ball handler to choose which direction he wants to go in. This is hell for the defense, since the screener's man cannot get into good defending position early, leaving them chasing and behind by several steps. Next up is the drag screen. In semi-transition, the big man flows from the backcourt right into a screen for the ball handler. Usually it's to allow the dribbler to attack back towards the middle, and the idea is to catch the big man's defender off guard or behind the play, hence in poor position to help contain. This is oftentimes an organic play. If the big man finds himself running up court and the point guard is beaten into the three-point line, he can just continue his momentum right to the ball, hit the defender, then roll to the hoop. Another very popular action is the inside ball screen, where the ball starts on the wing and the screener sets a screen to allow the ball to attack middle. This can be devastating to the defense as it can allow a strong penetrator to get going downhill into the middle of the floor where he can collapse the defense and kick out for open threes. Ice defense was invented specifically to contain this action, and it was effective for several seasons until teams started making an adjustment, the pivot ball screen, where the big man appears to set an inside ball screen but then quickly pivots to make this into a step-up screen. The Spurs made this popular. Picture Boris Diaw doing this a lot, and it suddenly allowed the ball handler a one-on-one opportunity against a typically slower and bigger opponent. When the snake dribble became a thing, the dribbler crosses over to ensure his man is left behind, defenses became a lot less formidable. And the offense can also get right into a step-up screen, where the ball screener faces the half-court line to allow the dribbler to attack the baseline. When that corner is clear, there's lots of room to operate and get shots for the guard. If you're looking at all these plays and getting mesmerized and are thinking, hey, I've got to install some of this in my offense, then you must click on the link in the description below to buy my latest offering in the BBallBreakdown store. 4 must-have actions for your offense. I break down these key actions that will get your team much easier shots, so do not miss out. Plus, there is an ever-expanding library of videos packed with useful information and demonstrations for everything about the game, from coaching to playing. So check it out now. Another Spurs staple is called zipper fist, where the initial ball handler dribbles to the wing and the player you want to get the ball screen cuts from the low block to the top of the key before the big man times it to ball screen. This makes it hard for the dribbler's defender, who has to follow him up to the top, then around the screen and then chase him back downhill again and hope to get a hand up and contest some sort of mid-range jumper. There are plenty of times when the defense shows resistance on the first pick and roll, so many teams just set a second ball screen once the dribbler crosses through. This persistence usually pays off when attacking from the top. Other times, when a poor shooter is involved, the defense goes underneath the screen, so the screener can simply turn around and screen again, that much closer to the hoop. And this not only gets shots for the ball handler, but it can also get the defense scrambling big time, allowing drop-off passes to the roll man as well. A natural flow to these types of ball screens is the roll part of the pick and roll. When you have an aggressive ball handler, defenses naturally gravitate towards him, and as the focus is on stopping the ball, it allows the screener to find the open spot in front of the rim. Of course, it requires a kind of accuracy and timing that a really good dribbler must have, but when it clicks, it's the kind of thing that has you wonder, why don't they run this every time down? That brings us to the pick and pop, a lethal play that has become even deadlier with the focus on shooting more three-point shots in recent years. Often, the ball handler's focus isn't getting downhill, but stringing out the defense towards his side of the floor. And once he's commanded all the focus, a crackback pass to the screener who has popped back behind the three-point line gets him an open look. Teams then started adding a third player to set a flare screen for the ball screener. This particular action is very tricky for the defense to handle, and if they can't somehow prevent the ball handler's pass, it invariably yields a catch from behind the arc with significant space. There is the double ball screen, where two players get in the line to set consecutive ball screens. This tends to get defenders running into each other, and if their communication and preparation is not on point, the offense can get a multitude of options. Generally, the first ball screener pops out to the perimeter, and the second ball screener rolls hard to the hoop. Sometimes you don't even need to use the double ball screen. As the defense gets so concerned with Lillard going to his right, they leave a driving lane open when he rejects the screen and gets the layup. Spain pick and roll is a cousin of the double pick and roll, but the second screener doesn't screen for the ball. He screens for the ball screener. This has been a play that most NBA team defenses have yet to handle consistently, as invariably signals get crossed, someone doesn't switch properly, and a wide open shot results. By back screening the ball screener's man, suddenly the normal contain of the ball handler is not there, and once the other two players break into the open areas, one of the three players involved is wide open. The answer is to switch each screen, the key being the third defender picking up the ball handler, but even then it could be too late as the ball handler is already downhill at full speed. Along the perimeter, you also have the pass and follow pick and roll, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's an easy action when a big has to swing the ball and find something to do. Usually, it's easier for the defense to be in position on this action, but there's a reason the pick and roll works. There's also a similar action where you set the pin down for the cutter, and after he gets the ball, that same screener comes up to ball screen. This is particularly difficult for the screener's man to deal with, and here's a good example of the kind of shot you get with it. One way to almost ensure success is to get the ball screener's man out of position from the get-go, and there are several versions of the Spurs 25 play, where a guard will down screen the ball screener's man first, thereby allowing the ball handler to attack with the defense a step or two behind the play. This doesn't have to be a guard screening for a center, mind you. With positionless basketball, you can have anybody screen for anybody before going to the ball. Sometimes it helps to get a lot of moving parts going before flowing into the pick and roll, and the Warriors made this weave across the top into a pick and roll famous a few years ago, running it almost exclusively for Klay Thompson. Teams have gotten a little bit used to defending it these days, but it's still a viable action to break into out of a timeout when you want to get a good shot. The Clippers used the weave going to the sideline to loosen up the defense before letting CP3 go to work, getting into the lane, and finding cutters. Horns is another great alignment to start in before running a pick and roll. With all that space open under the basket, a simple screen in whichever direction the point guard chooses can easily get him into the lane for a short shot. More horns as the point guard uses the ball screen to the right, and when he hits the screener, the weak side high post screens for him, with the basket area wide open, no help. Here's a similar action, but the ball handler uses the screen back towards the middle, where Morris finds space for the open mid-range jumper. The initial ball handler can also engage in this Horns twist action, where he gets the first ball screen going to the left, then crosses over and gets a second ball screen going to the right, getting a wide open 3-ball. The Clippers also made famous this veer action, where both high post players come up high to flank the dribbler's man, giving him tons of room to get downhill to the basket. Another benefit to this alignment and having the second screener dive to the rim is that he's right there for potential offensive rebounds in case his teammate misses, while the first screener is in position to get back on defense if need be. And the Spurs have had success flipping the order of who dives and who pops, as Gasol is the second screener but pops out for the open jumper. And when Aldridge rolls quickly as the first screener on this possession, the whole defense gets stuck out of position, and it's an easy find of the open shooter and knockdown triple. Another double high post attack is called elbow get, where the ball goes to the elbow and the weak side high post comes across to set the pick. In such close proximity to the hoop, it makes it very difficult to stop, since one step in the wrong direction from the defense and it's a dunk or a layup on a lob. And if you don't contain the ball handler, it's one dribble to the cup and an easy shot. The 21 series, made famous by Mike D'Antoni in Phoenix with Steve Nash, is another great way to find a pick and roll. Here it starts with a handoff into an inside ball screen, which is essentially two ball screens in a row, and Marcus Smart gets a close shot to go down. The Thunder run it here, and the combination of the handoff then ball screen attacking to the middle is key. The defense must rotate, and it opens up all sorts of open shots along the three-point line. Portland has a wrinkle out of this called chest, where they invert the 21 or pistol action, hitting the wing, handing off, then ball screening towards the baseline where you get a fast attack and they get the roll man for the dunk. Finding ball screens all over the court is crucial, and setting them for a player in the low post could also be devastating to the defense depending on who screens. Here, J.R. Smith sets the screen for LeBron down low, and his gravity on the switch gets J.R. a good look from the corner for the 3-ball. When Portland does it here, the defense is already so compressed because the ball is in the low post that you're almost guaranteed a close shot near the hoop. Remnants from the triangle offense still exist in the form of the automatic corner ball screen. Whenever the ball finds itself in the corner, a big must come over to set the ball screen and get an attack towards the middle. So there you have it, sports fans. That's a long list of the different types of pick and rolls we see in the NBA today, from the specific angles and areas to the actions that lead into one of the oldest plays in the book. Going forward, you'll be able to call these out to your friends when you see them, knowing the concept behind them and why they work. And don't forget, if you're a coach and want even more resources to improving your knowledge and ability to teach the game, then you must head over to the BBallBreakdown store, where we have an ever-growing library of on-court demonstrations of cutting-edge skills and drills. You in? Sports fans, to see more of our great NBA content and analysis, make sure to hit the subscribe button, but also click the bell and adjust your settings so you can get an alert the second our videos drop, because trust me, you're going to want them hot and fresh. You in?